Welcome back to SoulBack. This is your host, Kyle. I've got Tom and Ed with me. Welcome to another week of R&B. What's going on, guys?
What's up, Playa? Speaking of weeks, this has been a very exhausting, insane week in the world of music. Oh, my goodness.
I'm back, guys. I took a week off. I heard I missed some good stuff with Pleasure P, but I'm back to join in on the fun.
And you came in right at the right time. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not that you show up the same week that we have Stokley in the building. Tom, is this a coincidence?
Not a coincidence at all. You shouldn't expect anything less on the SoulBack podcast than the greats.
Yes, sir. Players, I've been hyped about this one for a long time. Your boy's ready to stand out over one of the best of all time.
Yeah, we got to find out who did a better cover of Pretty Brown Eyes, Trey Songz or Chris Brown, VA's finest duo.
Players, listen, you are not embarrassing me today. We are going to put the muzzle on you. Oh, my gosh. 2 minutes in, here we go.
Well, we have a lot to talk about in R&B as we normally do, but I want to first off start off with our fan love segment, if I can get into that really quickly. I mean, we have so many albums that we want to talk about, but this one comes from one of our listeners, guys. He wanted us to mention that he grew up listening to the New Edition album. I'm scrolling through it right now, the Home Again album. He's only 25 years old, but that was his first album ever. What did you guys remember about that album, Ed?
Oh, that was a big thing at the time. Home Again was the big reunion album. Puff was kind of, I think he might have been involved at the time. This was kind of like 96 or so. I'm sure Derek Dunn, long-time listener, will come in and correct us in the comments. But that album, it was a lot of buzz behind that album, and my favorite song still is the remix to You Don't Have to Worry with Missy Elliott on it. So know that album very, very well, and it's a very good one.
Props to our fan for being a real fan of R&B. His parents must have raised him well for him to discover that album at such a young age.
Yes, put him on the good stuff.
Shout-outs to Wilt is the best, and he also made a very interesting comment, and we can talk about it later, but he says the reason why there are no groups in the industry and everyone wants to be a solo star is because no one wants to play the role of the lesser-known members, such as Mr. Dalvin, Biv, and the white guy from All for One.
The white guy from All for One. I mean, that's a pretty legit argument because a lot of people get in it. There was a time where people got into the industry because they love music. Now people get into the industry because they want to be superstars, and it's hard to be a star when you're buried behind somebody. Everybody wants to be Cisco. Nobody wants to be Woody. So that's just how it is.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot, Ed, and give a real-time example. We love Mint Condition and Stokley. How many other members can you name?
Oh, Lord. Don't put a player on the spot like that. That your boy struggles with. But, you know Stokley because he is the front runner of that group. So it's a good point.
And especially in this day and age, it doesn't look too good on the gram to be a backup member of anything. So, you got to front at all times.
Stunting for the gram. That's how we do.
Well, does it count that I know Kerry Lewis because I think he was married to Toni Braxton once upon a time?
Oh, yeah, Kerry Lewis. You are correct there. But I don't think he's a member.
He's not.
No. All right, let's focus in on the new music that we have that just came out last week. Tamia put out her new record with Salam Remy. Man, the production on that song is fire.
Mm-hmm. And you knew it was fire. And speaking of fire, I think that is the direction for the new album. It's the name of it is the name of the single, of course, is Leave Me Smokin', but the album itself, I'm blanking on the name, but it's kind of fire themed as well. Something like Keep the Fire Burning. You remember what it is, Kyle?
I slipped out of my mind. Tom?
Passion Like Fire.
That's it. There you go. But yeah,
that's why we have three of us.
Some fire. Yeah.
Can I tell you guys though? I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a little surprised to see Tamia come back like this. Just because, with the direction R&B is going, I wasn't sure an artist like Tamia would really come back. Not that it's been so soon. Her last album was 2015, but it's almost like you never know what to expect from someone like her if she'll even come back at all. I mean, she doesn't need to in the position she's in life. So I found it cool that she still, has passion to release music.
And she's doing it with the sound that made her a star, and she's not really trying to kind of co-opt anybody else's sound, at least from the looks and sounds of this first single. So Tamia fans out there are hyped, and I am one of them.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm so thankful that the record isn't your typical piano ballad. I just have to put that out there because you know how I feel about those. But the record is fresh, and she's on an independent again. She's on E1. She had that situation with Def Jam, which, I think sales-wise it didn't work out, but the music that she was able to put together on a major, that was a great album. So it'll be interesting to see what she does now that she's back on an independent. I know she's had some success with that. But, man, this record, it was so fresh and, I wasn't really expecting that from Tamia, and she delivered.
Nor was I. But then again, she's an artist that you never want to underestimate. So it doesn't surprise me that we got a song of this quality. But then again, it shocks me a little bit to what Tom was saying. It's not something we weren't really expecting, we can't wait for that new Tamia project, because we know she's good in her world. If we get new music, great. But she's not someone we're just kind of waiting with bated breath. But whenever she comes through, she never disappoints.
Real quick, both of you guys. Tamia, living legend? Oh, come on. Forget it. Moving on. Moving on. We're not going to debate.
I keep it real. And I think, and I just wrote a couple weeks ago my retrospective of 1998, and her first album celebrates 20 years this year. I still think her debut is a 5-star debut. I still struggle to call her a living legend, though, just when it comes to influence. I don't know if the influence is there.
Fair enough.
Well, she's Canadian, so she's a legend in my eyes no matter what she does.
I will say, I don't know what y'all feed them up there, but those ladies from Canada be singing.
Yes, sir. Got an album that came out, actually. Bridget Kelly. This one came out of nowhere. Well, I guess it didn't come out of nowhere, but it kind of surprised us. Her album, Reality Bites. Now, Tom, this is an artist that you've covered for many, many years now in New York. Aren't you happy that her time has finally come?
Yeah, I just wish it came up with a little more fanfare, unless I'm totally missing the fanfare, because I don't watch reality TV. I know she's on Love and Hip Hop, so maybe that's where the promotion came into play. But, I mean, it was kind of announced a while back. I thought, there would be more of a proper setup. I guess people aren't really using radio as a campaign these days, getting the buzz going with a radio single. It's just, maybe we're just adapting to that time. But I am glad to see her keep releasing new music, and I know both you guys heard some good things when hearing that album.
Yep, I certainly did. I was a huge Bridget Kelly fan when she came on with Special Delivery way back when. I thought that she was next up. And as she talked about on the first track of the album, the things didn't work out for her, and she takes full responsibility for it. She doesn't blame anybody. She's like, it's my fault. So this is kind of her redemption. And the album is very solid. The first half is very good. The second half gets a little too predictable, so it kind of, the flow kind of dips down a little bit, so that was a slight disappointment. But overall, it was a good project. And honestly, if it wasn't for, shout out my boy Dollar on Twitter, if it wasn't for him, I didn't even know it was released.
Man, can I say something? And I don't say this normally, but the record In the Gray, man, my wig was snatched on that song.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my.
No, but really, that is an amazing song. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. What's better, that song or the LaToya and Ludacris song In the Gray?
Oh, Playa, I knew you were going to go for me with that one. I think the better performed song would be Bridget's, but because that one's still so new to me, I had to go with LaToya's because I'm still rocking that one even a couple years later. So I think Bridget, though, when it comes down to structure and note for note, she might have it.
I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw the track list, I was like, oh, boy, we have another one of those situations like we had with Jay Holiday where they just snatched up the song from LaToya and gave it to Bridget Kelly. You never know.
No, I thought that, too. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, here we go. I'm going to call Jay Holiday. He's going to be pissed. But no. Whole new song. Don't worry.
Listen, Pleasure P kept it real with us last week. He said that producers need to get paid, so you got to do it in any means necessary. Now, let's talk about Janelle Monae. Ed, you did an album review on this CD, and you love it.
I absolutely love it. And leading up to this album, as many people know who follow me on social media and Soul and Stereo, I really wasn't feeling the singles individually. I thought they were okay, but they didn't grab me like some of her earlier work did. But this album is proof that the art of the album still lives, and it means so much to have an album with good sequencing and good structure and having songs flow into one another, because when you put all those songs into one package, it's tremendous. And that is why the album works so well, as one big narrative. So when you put that together, it's unbeatable. To me, it's the best album I've heard so far in 2018. But amazingly, it's probably my least favorite Janelle album. It's a lot more 80s pop than I usually like, but it's still just so undeniably fun. Going to be hard to beat this one for Album of the Year.
Now, Tom, on this album, Janelle has a song called I Got the Juice with our savior and hero Pharrell. And on Justin Timberlake's album, if you remember, he had a song called Sauce, and in the intro it said, juice is temporary, sauce is forever. So am I supposed to listen to Justin Timberlake, or am I supposed to listen to Pharrell? Like, what's better, sauce or juice? What's going on?
Honestly, I don't think you should concern yourself with these types of things. Just enjoy the music.
All right.
This player just asked what was better, sauce or juice.
What's the answer?
Well, I'll tell you for one thing. When I eat my spaghetti, I don't use any sauce.
Oh, my God.
But I do usually have a glass of juice with the meal, if that means anything.
Are you really eating naked spaghetti?
A little salt and pepper if he's feeling frisky.
Yeah, a little butter sauce, light butter sauce, you know.
Oh, God.
Oh. I really swear that Tom's tongue is just made out of tree bark. Like, there's absolutely no taste buds on that thing.
Oh, jeez. I got some interesting tour news for you guys. You guys are aware of the whole 90s block party situation that's going on with all of our favorite 90s acts, right? That tour that's going on?
Oh, yes. We've talked about it many times.
So this one is interesting. I was going through my Instagram, and it looks like Dru Hill has been bringing out Smokey and Black from the group Playa, I guess to celebrate 20 years of Cheers to You, but they've been bringing Playa on the road with them. And I think that's super dope of them to, like Pleasure said last week, we got to work together because no one else is going to support us but each other. But what's interesting is you see Smokey, you see Black, you see Cisco, Nokia, Tail, but Jazz is missing. Where is Jazz?
Well, I mean, I remember when I saw Dru Hill live, Jazz unfortunately had to sit a couple songs out here and there on the side. He just wasn't in great shape, and I don't know if he's not there altogether. He might be just in the background. He lets them takes a breather. It was a little odd to see. I still understand what Dru Hill is. It just seems like an odd pairing. I know Nokia had their relationship with Def Soul and Playa, but man, it was interesting. It's cool though. As a fan, it's cool.
It's really cool. I love this incarnation of Playa Hill, but as Tom said, it is kind of sad. I have heard rumors of Jazz having really failing health issues, and there was a point around 2000, 2001 that I really thought he was going to be the breakout voice of the group. I know Cisco would be the breakout entertainer, but I'm saying the breakout voice. I just knew it would be Jazz. So it kind of hurts my heart that he has issues going on and he can't really enjoy kind of this 90s revival that we're seeing.
Man, well, if anyone has any news on Jazz or what's going on with him, we'd love to find out because one of the most talented R&B vocalists in the game. So shout-outs to Jazz. Now, I want to quickly go into the Playa Please Award. There's so many ways I can put this, but I'm going to just ask you guys both. Are you guys moving to Canada in the coming years when Kanye West becomes your president?
No. I might, listen, I'm going to get my passport in a few days. It takes like 90 days to get it. I might as well go on and put in the work to get that done because if if President Ye is in my future, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine how that would turn out positively. But like I was telling Ed, I can see a scenario where people would be dumb enough to vote for him, unfortunately, so that scares me.
Absolutely, they would be dumb enough, because you've seen so many of these stands still today making excuses for this dude. This dude could literally spit in their face, and they'd be like, well, he made College Dropout. He's okay with me. Playa, it's been 10 years since we got a decent album from the dude. Be real with it. It's over.
Yep. Well, we got to give John Legend a shout out, because he tried saving us from this, and he got shut down by Kanye.
Hey, listen, let me put this on blast now. If I am having a personal conversation with either of you, and you screenshot it and put it on Twitter, I am coming to your house to personally deliver your fans, Nano style. You getting both of them at the same time. What? How? I mean, they have gone back how many years? You gonna put that man on blast like that? Then drop that whack song with T.I. where he's trying to give his side of the story? And politics aside, it's just a horrible song. Absolutely no flow to it. He's just rambling like some old man at the barbershop. It is terrible. Kanye is canceled.
Jeez.
But he did make some good Brandy songs back in the day, so shout out to Kanye.
In 2004.
Those songs are banging.
Like
shout out to Kanye.
In 2004. It's like saying Trump's a good president because he was in Home Alone 2.
That's a classic movie, man.
It is, but Trump ain't. Classic garbage. Everybody's garbage. I'm in a mood today, Play. I hope Stokley wakes me up.
All right. Well, we're going to have Stokley in the building now. Like I said, another episode, another special guest. Tom, we have a very special guest with us today. Who's on the podcast today?
Yeah, we're really fortunate to have Stokley of Mint Condition with us, one of the top male vocalists easily of all time in R&B, up from the legendary group Mint Condition. You know, he just made a huge impact with his solo album, and we're really glad to have some time with him. So, Stokley, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, Stokley, we got to get this started right away. So, Ed, he's from VA, and VA has birthed some of the greatest R&B artists, Trey Songz and Chris Brown being two, and they both did a cover of Pretty Brown Eyes on separate occasions. To you, which is the better cover?
I don't know. I think they both did a good job. It's one of those things where, depending on who you talk to, like a lot of fans, I think they're both good. I don't know. I don't like one more than the other, I should say. It's cool that they're doing it. I think more so if you ask other fans, there will be more like, the song is sacred, don't touch it, which I understand.
Yeah.
But, time marches on, and, whoever discovers your music, whenever they get into it is, when it happens. So, and that's their interpretation of it. So, I'm just, I'm delighted to have people kind of coming on whenever they get on the train. And it's cool. Both of them are cool. So I can't really rate them as like which one is better. I don't really, yeah. I don't know.
I'm a applaud my man Stokes for being politically correct there, because I'm kind of like the other side. You don't mess with the classics. I want to hear the classics, so I'm just chilling over here.
I get it.
All right, so Stokley, man, we really applaud you for what you did with your debut solo album, introducing Stokley. Many R&B fans have been waiting, decades, it's safe to say, for you to come out with this solo project, and it was worth the wait. I mean, Level, we had as one of our top songs, of the year when it came out, and the album was just really solid overall. But we just want to hear from you. What was the feeling like? You were doing a lot of performances following the album by yourself. What was the feeling like performing as a solo artist and not having the band with you?
Well, not having the familiar faces that people know and that I know is always is something you miss, but it was a natural progression for me. I think it's I expected it to feel a lot different, but it wasn't just because I have, the setup. I still have like some of the classic, instruments, of course, drums, bass, guitar, and all these different things. Two background vocalists, which are they're amazing, and so I think it's just kind of a natural progression. So it didn't feel all the way too different. But, of course, I miss the energy of the fellas and that thing. But this just has a different energy. It feels, to me, it's just a different way of working, a different way of expressing myself. I'm able to get more into it. And for the fans to kind of, see what's going on with where I'm at right now in my life and my, the direction I'm going. So I'm glad that everybody's been resonating with it and has come on board. So I'm really, really excited.
Now, Ed, you grew up on Mint Condition. To see Stokley go from Mint Condition, the group, to solo, what was that journey for you like as a fan?
As a fan, it was a long time coming because I remember when, like, RU3 and Pretty Brown Eyes, I remember when those songs debuted, and it just seemed like, especially in the 90s, a lot of those artists, those lead vocalists, would go on to solo careers. But Stokley was one that always stuck with the group, and we just knew it was coming, it was coming, it was coming. And what made it magical that we got it when we got it is because R&B was at a point where the competition was low, there was space for a veteran to come in and really hit hard and remind us why he is a veteran. So to have that level of talent come in and drop an album that solid at that time is really what we needed. So it was not only nostalgic for fans like me that remembers the Meant to Be Mint days, but for a fan that was kind of hungry for that sound again, it was all good.
That's cool.
Now, Stokley, let me ask you, a lot of fans want to know what the plans are next for yourself as a solo artist and also the group. What do you think would come first, another solo album or another group album?
Yeah, all I can say right now is this is where my heartbeat is. This is where my it's just what I'm feeling right now. Just wanted to work another way of doing. You understand? For me, I've been on the journey with Mint. We've all been there for like 32 years. It's been a long time. So I think as an artist, you want to express yourself differently. And whenever we come together, is whenever that is. There's not really a time limit on it. It's just more so I'm moving at the spirit of what God is telling me to do, or what my spirit is telling me to do. And it's like I said, it's just something that I felt for a long time. I wanted to just explore some different possibilities. I'm able to make music in a different way, and just see the world in a different way. So I think it's. I'm not sure. Like I said, when the group is going to do something, we're all, we've got a lot of catalog. People have been exploring. Like you said, the Remy Ma's and the Chris Browns and all these people of the world have been exploring our catalog, and so I'm sure that won't be the end of that. There'll be a lot of other people exploring it. So that's where it says everybody else is from Mint is in different spaces right now, and we're just living life. Right now, I feel like I'm just getting my feet wet with this whole solo thing and really diving into that. So there'll definitely be more of that. I guess the best way I can explain it. So yeah, this is just kind of where my pulse is right now, wanting to explore this avenue.
Cool. Nice. Mm-hmm. Now, Stokley, last week. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Stokley, we had Pleasure P from the group Pretty Ricky on here last week, and he was just talking to us about the challenges of maintaining a group. And Ed, at this point in R&B, there's no R&B groups left. So, Ed, maybe you can kind of reiterate what Pleasure was saying, and maybe Stokley, you can chime in on that.
Yeah, a lot of what Pleasure was saying, again, there was a time early, especially when we go into like the early 90s, the Mint Condition era, there were just groups on top of groups on top of groups on top of groups. But as we got closer to the 2000s and going into this decade, those groups just kind of vanished. And Pleasure was saying that it's unfortunately may be a sign of the times where back then where it was about the music and you want to be together and you want to make the group, now everyone wants to be a solo artist. Everybody wants that own shine. So, Stokley, I asked you, why do you think that the groups have kind of diminished in these more recent years? Is it because people are looking for more solo success? Do people not know to have that group mentality anymore? What's up?
I think it's a couple of different things. I think, number one, what you see, politically speaking, around in the world, in America at least, is there are, when I grew up there, I wanted to make sure that it's like what we wanted to do. We grew up seeing groups like Earth, Wind and Fire, Ohio Players, groups like that, and I'm sorry, I've got my GPS on at the same time and bucket. I think that the schools have gotten rid of the program, so you have to see it to want to be it. I think is one of the things. So I think having, seeing these groups for me is like we were seeing everybody like, play a bass guitar, playing drums, wanting to sing, that kind of thing. So, and wanting to do it as a unit. I think that was one of the main things that I saw disappear. And so with the influx of like DJing and that, because that's kind of what's in right now, DJing, MC of course has been there with the the hip hop community. That's just great. It continues as another branch off the trio of African American music to push it forward. But the problem is there's always there's a problem with balancing. You know what I mean? There's always too much of one thing, and I think with the music in schools, that's one thing. The other part is like when you have people on Madison Avenue, marketeers and whatnot, they're trying, once they see something that works, they want to make a copy of an original. So what happens there is like it begins to flood the market, and then there's no balance. So there's a few things that are going on. I think the reason when you talk about like Mint and there's when Mint Condition came in the game, that kind of group was on its way out. You know what I mean? Because it was like it was more cost efficient to move like a group like Boyz II Men. Singing groups were on their way in. Boyz II Men, Jodeci, et cetera, et cetera. Those kinds of things, and we felt like we were like the Lone Rangers, us and Tony at the time. And then it was just us for quite a while. So for me, I just felt like it was a necessary energy to have, because if you had solo artists galore everywhere, and that's one of the reasons I never really did anything. I just felt like it was a necessary point to have us there. But the thing is, you have to, it's in any group, there's challenges, it's going to be difficulties, in any family, just moving forward and trying to earn a living and trying to take something and have keep your integrity about you. But the first thing you got to have passion about what you're doing. We all had a common goal, and but if you don't have that, it's going to be hard to work it. And we were able to work out the business that in a way that was comfortable for us. A lot of times you see one or two people making the lion's share, and that's going to create a little bit of some corners, some challenges there. So we decided when we first started that we're going to share this thing. That's part of it, part of the whole thing. Because if like the great groups of the 70s and whatnot, the thing that broke them up a lot of times was the finances. It's just the piece of the pie is only so big, and it just comes down to that sometimes. It's like you gotta feed your families and all that good stuff. So these are all part of the reasons that bands can't still to this day. We're kind of an anomaly like that. Why they don't survive. And I think right now, like I said, for me, it just depends on each individual. For me, I just felt like there was something for me to say. I got a couple more years left while I'm healthy and, relatively young to go out and do what I need to do. But, yeah, it's definitely a challenge for any group. You definitely got to, be of one mind, move together and that kind of thing. It's very important to do that.
Yeah, that point about the school system is fantastic. I hadn't thought of that, and I don't know if I've heard that before, but that's a very good point. Arts just is not taught like it used to be.
No, you don't see it. If you don't see it, you can't be it, man. I mean, if you're close to that, you know what I mean? In band and concert band, we had, I'm from a unique high school. We had an actual recording studio in high school. We were all playing instruments and learning how to record technically. Concert band, we had steel pan. That's where I learned I had my steel drum experience. So all these tactile experiences, were right there in front of me every day. And plus, not to mention, groups that I saw locally, it was like my local heroes, including Prince, people like that. You saw it. So it was just like an immediate right in front of you. I can see I want to do this. You know what I mean? And now what they see, kids want to be what they see. You know what I mean? They see a DJ. I mentor a few kids now. It's like, it's all about them. There's a couple of MCs. That's what they see, master of ceremonies. The best thing I can do is just make sure that they have the best musical background added on to what they want to do, because this is another generation, and they have to move it forward. They should move it forward to be better, to be more creative, but they got to be equipped. A lot of the kids out here are not equipped, in my mind, for what they're trying to do.
Well, let me ask you this, Stokley. Something we debate so frequently, and you touched on it. Instruments and not being taught in school, and kids not having that option, not seeing it. We talk about how there's not a lot of instrumentation and musicality in the new songs we're hearing from younger artists these days, and obviously that was one of Mint Condition's, crowning jewels, was so full of instrumentation and musicality. So, people tend to say, yeah, things come and go in cycles, but from your perspective, do you see the musicality and the instrumentation coming back at all in the music in the future at any point, or is that kind of going to go the way of, I don't know, classical music and how that just died out and we just, moved into something else?
Well, I think another point I need to make is these technological advancements that we've made. So how it goes is we have the internet radio, right? We have, the classic, radio, how we would all receive music. And pretty much that was the gold standard back in the day. You heard everything on the radio. There was one place to go and consume your music. And, the videos back in the MTV and all that stuff for that point, too. Now there's a bunch of different portals you can go. So we didn't have to do anything to receive music back in the day. Now you actually have to work for it. So I say all that to say there's a lot of great musical acts out there. You just got to go search for it. There's a lot of people who really who love chord changes and, all the musicality and all these different things, all these different genres all mashed up in one. You just have to go find it now. You're not going to find it on pop radio. Every once in a while you'll hear some people, it might be a producer who's influenced by all the things all the sensibilities that we're talking about now, and they'll mesh it in with whatever artist you're producing. But that's here and there. For the most part, you'll hear like 2-3 chord changes, and they'll have a theme and they go with it. And I love that stuff too. Again, I'd like to hear more of a balance. And when I hear that, like somebody like a Kendrick Lamar who's really creative, if you hear some of the music that some of the landscapes that they create behind him, it's amazing. You got to move it forward. It's not going to be in the same way of like a Mint Condition or some of the things of the past, Earth, Wind. It's not going to be packaged in the same way. So sometimes we have to. I know people like what they like, and they just kind of people want to receive the kind of music they want to receive, whatever moves them. But as an artist and a person who likes to explore, I think it kind of helps move everything forward a little bit to be, part of the sensibilities that whatever it is that you like, but also be open to other forms coming in and moving it forward. But yeah, I don't know if all that makes any sense. All these
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. No, Stokley, can we talk about your production work a little bit outside of the group, because you've done a lot of work outside of Mint Condition. Just talk about that a little bit and how you kind of got into that and how that's helped with your career along the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, the production is since day one. First of all, that's something that all of us, we are producers in our own right. All of everybody in Men Condition, and we pride ourselves on that. I really love. I love analog and I love digital. I love both realms, and so that's just something I've always been interested in. I've always been, we did stuff back in the day for different soundtracks and things like that. We were really privy to a lot of things like that, through Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's production company, Flight Time. And so we're exposed to all that and very influenced by what they were doing as well, because they were, top of the game and doing everybody under the sun at that time, and we grew up in a time where, it was Jam and Lewis, it was Babyface in L.A., and, we had a lot, Teddy Riley and all these different people. So the people that were creating the music behind these artists was amazing. So we grew up, and it was just natural for us to want, again, to do that kind of thing, to want to be in the production business. We were artists in our own right, but I think it was just another notch on the belt kind of thing. But it's something that was just that came naturally to us. It was something we loved producing, wanted to produce our own stuff. Jam and Lewis were like, yeah, you can do that, if it's good. And we kept listening and kept honing our skills. And that's the same thing, with all of us. For me, same thing. I would always listen to other people around me, other musicians. And, it just kind of continued into, all the people that you, with Jill Scott or, all the people that I've worked with. Yeah.
Cool. So, we know that, you were close with Prince, and then, obviously his death had an impact on all of us. Is there any story you can share with us, maybe one of Prince's lighter moments or something people wouldn't realize about him in your time spent with him?
The dude was just a incredible genius, the coolest genius to ever do it. I just had the things that I'm just going to miss that I always say, just, things that aren't so, so dynamic. Well, it was dynamic to me, but just sitting down having a conversation with him about life or music or, he was just so generous to me, to Mint, taking us under his wing, even though we had been in the industry for a minute, but just, taking us with him around, whether it be in France or whether it be here in the States, when we did his stay at the Forum. I remember we were actually going to, the first time we did one of the times we did a thing with him at the Forum. He was doing, I don't know how many nights he did there. He was doing a residency in L.A., and we were about to go out. We just did our little prayer, about to go out, and then he comes up, oh, did I miss the prayer and everything? And we're like, oh, you just missed it. And he's like, okay, we're going to go out here and do our thing. He says, well, what song am I coming up on? We're like, what? You want to come up? It's like, okay. So he came up on a song called Caught My Eye, and it's on the 7 CD, Men Condition 7 CD. And we're like, okay, cool. He said, what key? We're like, key of E. He said, we'll just point to you. He came up and just burned it up, of course, crowd went crazy. And then he disappeared, descended back down in the stairs.
That is dope.
Yeah, it was a great moment, great moment, and it was amazing. One of the first times we actually formally met. We knew each other for years, of course. We were in the same city, and a lot of the musicians we knew were in his band, and he would come up, and we would hear little things he would say about the group. So he kind of had that competitive spirit about him, and so did we. And we would hear him in rehearsals. He would do certain things. He'd be like, "Oh, Men Condition can't do this," and then the next rehearsal would be like, "Yo, look, we're trying to learn this song, and we're going to make this kind of like a Men Condition, esque feel, And this is through third party hearing these kinds of things. So it's really cool to hear some of those stories, and just really gonna miss this dude, man, because he's He's truly an island. There's nobody like him ever. You know, just it's amazing. I have the opportunity now for the last year to been singing with the Revolution, and that's definitely an honor with them in itself. And they realize that, you know, I was kind of a two-way street. You know, I respected Prince, respected me, the group, men as well, and I think that's why I got the call to do that, which I was, you know, a little perplexed at the time. I didn't know how I was feeling about that. The guy just passed away, and, you know, all these celebrations and all these things were happening. And, of course, the Revolution being a group that I looked up to, it's like, you know, I think of Purple Rain when I look at, you know, all of the members in the group. It's, like, pretty amazing to be a part of that, you know, be on stage with Whitney and Lisa and, you know, Brown Mark and Bobby Z and, you know, Dr. Fink. It's just like, I'm like, where am I? What is this, you know? Why am I here? I never thought I'd be singing his songs, you know. So I just deliver them in the spirit of him. I'm not him. Never, no one can be that. But, you know, I just do me. And the crowd seems to really love it and appreciate it. And there's, you know, they're having a good time. It's more of a celebratory kind of energy now. At first it was a little difficult, but I think now everybody's celebrating this man's great legacy, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I was really glad to know him. His spirit's still here, so we'll forever salute him.
It's amazing, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's a legendary honor.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Now, and another thing, which I'll add to that is, with this, what I can say is what I'm doing right now, and this is one of the reasons I felt like he's had his thumb on it. He was supposed to be a part of this. This is one of the things he asked me, like, well, when are you going to do something? And I'd already been working on this CD, this Introduced to Stokley CD. And he was like, well, can I be a part of it? I was like, what? What are you talking about, man? Of course. So you just bring it to me when you're done, and we'll figure out what to do from there, and, you know, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different things, ideas he had, and you know, we just started getting a lot of energy on it. And so it's one of those things, one of the things that I feel he's right here with me, got his thumb on it along with me, moving it along. So I'm real happy and satisfied, you know, that he was even interested to even want to, you know, work on it. You know. Yeah.
Cool. Now, Ed, safe to say that Stokley is one of the best male vocalists of our time?
I think that's pretty much a lot going all the way back to the 90s up until now. I think Stokley's name is always in the convo, and I don't think that's changed.
So, Stokley, from your perspective, from these male R&B vocalists that you've seen from the time that you started till now, who are some that you look at and say, yeah, they're super talented? Are there any that come to mind?
Other singers?
Yep.
There's a lot of them. I love, like some of the younger, I like people like Tank. I think he's talented. I actually do like Chris Brown. I think people concentrate on his dancing, but the stuff that I've heard, I would like to hear him really do what I think he can do. Of course, I still love like Gil Scott. I love like Erica. I love Beyonce. Of course, there's a lot of people out here moving. Anthony Hamilton, I love his thing. There's a lot of people out here moving, really doing it. Really great tones, great voices, men and women, you know, old and new. Of course, the classics, you know, I still love Al Green. He's the cat who really did it for me. You know, old Maurice White and all these incredible, you know, Gladys Knight. So many. It's kind of literally, I can, you know, like a lot of people all day. A lot of people that have been influenced by, but there's a lot of younger people out here that are really. I love the tone. I love the energy. Lettucey is another one who's amazing. Lettucey actually on my first single, Level, it was actually supposed to be a duet, and she's actually singing back on it, but we couldn't work it out with the label. At the same time, she was coming out with something, so it was going to be a conflict. She's actually on the background once we kept us there. I'm keeping you on the background, by the way. Yeah,
I never noticed that. That's crazy.
Yeah, she's a monster. She's an amazing, beautiful monster, as they call her. Yeah, alien. Yeah.
No, it's definitely cool that you're staying in tune with what's been out and also what's new right now. That's dope.
Got to, man.
Then we just have one more thing for you, then we'll let you get out of here. We like to ask every artist we have on this podcast, what is your drink of choice? You know, when you're at a show, backstage, or just kicking it back at home, what do you go for?
Oh, you don't want to hear that. That's boring, man. It depends. I mean, most times I'm drinking some bottled water in a glass.
Okay.
But if it's not, that's true. That's just boring. But other than that, man, a kitty cocktail, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Or Grant Boys, just sum it up in grenadine or something like that. Where I'm not much of a I'm not like a brown liquor kind of dude, but I do like my little wine every now and then. A little red wine.
Fair enough.
Well, Stokley already told y'all. Stokley likes to keep it organic. He already told y'all that, so you should not be surprised.
There you go, man.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, man.
All right, Stokley, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to add about anything we should look out for you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, just more things coming up. I mean, I got stuff on development. I got some artists on the come up, some people I'm developing. And I guess to find out, you just go on my socials, which is Stokley Official. That's at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and my website istokley.com. That's the letter I, STOKLEY.com, and find out how I'm moving, how I'm doing it from being in your city. Come on out and check it out. Learn the songs so we can sing them together.
I got you beat on that one. We good.
Yeah, man.
Now, I want to thank Stokley for joining us on the SoulBack podcast. Man, another great guest, guys.
Another great guest, another legend in the house. I mean, SoulBack podcast is racking up the legends. So shout out to Stokley for coming through, and shout out to y'all for listening.
Man, Tom, we keep coming with these special guests, but I'm going to throw it to you. What is the SoulBack track of the day?
Man, you can I go with a recent song? Is that fair, or does that have to be throwback?
Do whatever you want.
So I'm going with Level by Stokley, which was his single. It was his first solo single officially, which we had very highly in our countdown when we named our list last year. It was just a great way for him to break out as a solo artist. I know some traditional fans were a little bit upset about it for some reason, but really liked that song and really set up big things for the album, which we really enjoyed as well, introducing Stokley. So I'm going with that one.
That's a good pick.
Absolutely. Now, Ed, what's going on with soulandstereo.com?
Oh, man. Always some hotness over at soulandstereo.com. As we talked about a little bit earlier, if you missed our review of Janelle Monae's album, Dirty Computer, go check that out on the site. And as well, as we talked about, I guess it was last week or so this time, also some other reviews that you may have missed. We got Maya, The Knockout, and J. Cole's most recent album. So if you're trying to catch up on new music, Soul and Stereo got your hookup.
Nice. And Tom, what's going on with You Know I Got Soul?
Not too much. I was trying to check out Maya at BB King's. Unfortunately, BB King's is closing down. That was one of my favorite venues to cover shows over the years. Unfortunately, her performance began at 1:30 a.m. and this old man I can't stay up for that anymore like I could back in the day. So didn't get a chance to see that. But Maya will be the last R&B artist who performs at BB King's in New York City. It's a sad day. Other than that, not too much going on. I know you've been doing more so of the interviews, Kyle. Any others coming up?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm definitely going to work on a couple. But wait, did you say Maya's show was at 1:30 a.m.?
Started at 1:30.
Who's there at 1:30?
I don't know, man.
Man. No, I don't think I have any interviews coming up. I might be checking out Ed's favorite artist, Khalid's show this week. Got to check out the young R&B stars. Ed, you like that new song by him, don't you?
Oh, I love that new song by him. The new song is tremendous, but everything else, you better bring your pillow.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he had that new record with Ty Dolla $ign and I think Black, right?
Yeah, and for some reason that song is it's tremendous. It's the best thing he's ever done. So I don't know if that was just a blind squirrel finding a nut or we have turned the corner. But either way, good for him. I'm rocking with that song at least.
Yep. I mean, a lot of new R&B stars are starting to emerge on the scene. Like, we keep talking about Ella Mai, and her record, Boot Up, is like number 5 on Urban now, so it just continues to blow up. Actually, that record is interesting, and, you know, we don't want to make this podcast too long because I know everyone wants to go watch The Avengers, but this record doesn't follow any formula that we see today. It sort of sounds like an album track from like 10 years ago.
It does, but for some reason it has resonated with listeners, and I just think that, and this is what I've always said, even if the music isn't trendy, if it's well done and it actually can be presented to artists, it will find an audience. The problem is there are so many good songs out here that the fans don't know about because it's not presented to them. So if you give it to them, there's a chance that they will at least latch on to it, and I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, I think, Tom, you were talking to our buddy Zeppelin about this song and how the streams really helped with the success of this record, right?
Yeah, we're having a big shift in the industry. You know, we didn't even know what Ella Mai looked like. We didn't see her on TV, you know, and we haven't really, I don't even know if she had a video before she put this one out, but really the younger artists are shifting a lot towards streaming because kids aren't listening to radio as much, even though she's had a strong impact on radio. You know, we got to now start checking his playlist to see what's really getting the plays.
Absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of R&B to come, a lot of R&B that's already been released, including the Drake record with Lauryn Hill. I'm just kidding, it's just a Drake record. But we'll see what happens moving forward. But until then, I want to give a quick shout out to Stokley for joining us on the SoulBack podcast. We'll be back next week with another guest. But until then, guys, I guess this is it, right?
All right.
This is it. Player, go watch
All right.
before the spoilers hit you. 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 Before the spoilers hit you.